You've been taught to search for the sacred in temples, built of marble in books, penned by distant prophets, or in the unreachable heights of some celestial realm. You've been led to believe that the holy belongs only to ceremony, that spirituality is a performance wrapped in incense and robes, whispered in ancient languages, cloaked in solemnity. But what if I told you the most sacred temple is the one you're already standing in? What if the altar is your kitchen counter? The prayer is your breath, and your whole life, every motion, every word, every pause, is already a ritual waiting to be remembered. The illusion is this, that the divine is elsewhere. But Thoth taught otherwise. He spoke not of worshiping the light outside, but of igniting the flame within. The Kabbalion opens with this immutable truth: the all is mind, the universe is mental. If all is mind, then all is sacred thought. And if all is sacred thought, then every moment, no matter how mundane, is infused with the presence of the divine. Close your eyes. Breathe. The way your chest rises and falls, it is not a mechanical thing. It is rhythm. It is the inhale of the stars made intimate. Each breath you take is a remembrance of life's sacred pulse, and yet how often do you rush through it as though it were a burden? You see, the sacred was never meant to be rare. It was meant to be revealed. And revelation comes not in thunder, but in attention. There is a quiet, ancient knowing that stirs when you slow down enough to feel it brushing your fingers against warm water, while washing a dish the way light falls across your floor in early morning. The sound of your voice as you speak your child's name. These are not distractions from spirituality. They are spirituality. The Hermetic way is not an escape from life. It is a deeper plunge into it. The modern mind is trained to compartmentalize. Work here, spirituality there. Mundane here, meaningful there. But these walls are illusions. There is no separation. There is no part of life that is not soaked in the unseen. Your laughter and your weeping are equally divine. Your Monday morning commute holds the same potential for awakening as a monk's chant at sunrise. The question is not, where is the sacred, but how present are you to it? Picture this: an alchemist in an ancient chamber, surrounded by glass, vials, symbols, and scrolls. Every movement they make is intentional, every tool placed with precision, every breath a part of the spell. Now consider your own morning pouring tea, tying shoes, checking messages. What if the difference between the two isn't the activity, but the awareness behind it? Practical. Hermetics begins here in the remembrance that your life is the lab. The sacred lives in repetition. It hides in the rituals you've called routine. The alchemist is not one who seeks exotic mysteries, but one who brings reverence to what is already before them. Take, for example, your morning drink. Most days, you brew your coffee or tea automatically. But what if just for today, you brought your full presence to the act? Feel the warmth of the cup in your hands. Notice the scent. Bless the water, the leaves, the process. Say inwardly, with this drink, I awaken not just the body, but the spirit. Suddenly, the ordinary becomes holy. You have transmuted routine into ritual, and this is no small act. In Hermetic thought, everything vibrates, every thought, every word, every action. When you pour your presence into a moment, you elevate its frequency. You become a conscious participant in the universe's great unfolding. You become in that instant the divine made aware of itself. We are not here to escape the world. We are here to sanctify it. The forgotten temple is not in a desert or on a mountain. It is in your kitchen, your breath, your gaze. It is in the way you tie your laces, greet your neighbor, water your plants. All of life is already sacred. You don't need to find holiness. You only need to see it, to treat each act as an offering, each moment as an initiation. And so I ask you now gently, with love, what in your life have you dismissed as mundane that might in truth be sacred? What rhythms have you rushed through that could be rituals in disguise? You don't need to change your life. You only need to change your presence within it. The temple was never lost. You are standing in it now. Thought is the first temple. Before word, before action, before matter, there is thought. And thought, when wielded unconsciously, builds prisons. But when infused with awareness, it becomes sacred architecture. This is the first law of Hermetic's The All is Mind. The universe is not a machine grinding forward. It is a dream, a vision, an emanation of divine intelligence. You are not a cog. You are a creator within that mind. Let that settle into your bones for a moment. Every thought you think is a chisel. Every belief is a beam. Every word you speak is a stone laid into the cathedral of your inner world. You are building a temple every day, whether you realize it or not. The only question is what kind. The mind is not a passive receiver. It is an architect of frequency. Imagine walking through your home. Picture it clearly. The walls, the color of the light, the arrangement of the furniture. Now imagine that every time you thought a fearful thought, one corner cracked. Every time you spoke unkindly to yourself, a window shattered. Every time you clung to resentment, dust gathered in the air. You would begin to notice, wouldn't you? You would want to clean, repair, reimagine. But because thought is subtle and its architecture invisible to the eyes, we do not see the damage. We only feel it in the heaviness, the confusion, the sense of being lost in our own inner house. The principle of mentalism invites us to become stewards of the unseen, to no longer allow our inner space to be shaped by habit or fear or inherited belief, to take the chisel into our own hands and sculpt the sacred. What if you began to treat every thought as a sacred material? What if you refused to build temples of worry and instead placed joy at the foundation? What if, instead of echoing the noise of the world, you began to sing the quiet song of your own divine design? This is not about positive thinking. This is about conscious construction, about understanding that thoughts are not whispers into the void, they are incantations. They call reality into being. When you begin your day by thinking, I am behind, I am not enough, I'll never get there, you are not observing truth. You are writing blueprints, and those blueprints will be followed. So choose with reverence. Let your thoughts become prayers. Let them shape a sanctuary, not a stronghold. There is power in repetition. In the silence of the morning before the world reaches for you, you have a moment of choice. This is the moment the ancients knew to be sacred, the time before thought sets its course. In that space, you can choose to plant a seed. A single thought offered with intention carries more power than hours of frantic activity. Try this upon waking. Place your hand on your heart. Say inwardly, I am a vessel of clarity. Today, I will shape beauty with my thoughts. Say it not as a demand, but as a vow. Say it not with tension, but with quiet devotion. Then watch how the day arranges itself differently around that tone. Mentalism teaches us that everything originates within, that what you see around you is a delayed echo of what you've been holding in mind. But here's the miracle: you can change the pattern at any time. You can rewrite the script. You can pause mid-thought, mid-sentence, and choose a new vibration. You can stop the construction of a self-defeating temple and begin to build something radiant. The Hermetic masters were not men in ivory towers. They were beings who understood how to weave the unseen into the seen. They spoke with intention, moved with awareness, and chose thoughts that aligned with the frequency of the all. They knew the temple was not just something you entered, it was something you became. So I ask you now, what kind of temple have you been building with your thoughts? Have your inner conversations been filled with praise or punishment? Are you erecting cathedrals of compassion or fortresses of fear? There is no shame in what you find, only a call to step into the role you were born for. Not a victim of circumstance, but an architect of reality. Your thoughts are sacred tools. Use them with grace. The sacred is not separate. It does not live only in the stars or hide behind velvet curtains of mystery. It breathes in your dishes. It hums in your footsteps. It glows gently in the glint of a glass as light passes through it. This is the teaching of correspondence: as above, so below, as within, so without. And when you begin to see it, truly see it, the world ceases to be random. It becomes a mirror, a song, a language of reflection and resonance. How many times have you walked past beauty without noticing it? How often have you rushed through moments that were speaking to you in the language of the cosmos? You eat a simple meal. The steam rises from your bowl, swirling like incense. The scent fills your lungs. You chew, and in chewing, you receive the essence of sun, soil, rain, and time. This is not just eating. It is a rite of gratitude, but only if you're present enough to see it. The principle of correspondence tells us that every level of reality echoes every other. That which is micro reflects the macro. The pattern you see in a snail's shell is the same pattern in galaxies. The rhythm of your breath matches the tides. The tone of your heart matches the pulse of the universe when you are aligned. So if you seek divine wisdom, do not only look to sacred texts. Look to the way your dog waits for you by the door. Look to the way two people laugh at the same time, creating harmony. Look at the sink filled with soapy water and the hands moving through it. This too is the divine playing house. When you understand correspondence, you stop separating life into spiritual and secular. You begin to understand that your home is your first temple, that sweeping your floor is not a chore, it's an energetic clearing. That blessing your food isn't superstition, it's harmonizing your frequency with the food's sacred origin. You begin to notice how the way you treat your surroundings reflects the way you treat your inner world. A cluttered room becomes a reflection of an overfilled mind. An open window becomes a reminder to breathe, to release. Even conflict can become a lesson. If someone's tone triggers you, ask, what part of me still holds that same sharpness? What part of me has invited this reflection? And it goes deeper still. The people in your life, mirrors, your experiences, echoes, the repeated themes you can't seem to escape, invitations to look inward. This doesn't mean you are to blame for every hardship. It means you are being given access to the code, the pattern that creates your reality. When you recognize this, everything becomes usable. Every encounter becomes a message. Every difficulty, a potential initiation. Here's a simple practice. Choose one ordinary task: washing your hands, folding laundry, drinking water. Do it with complete presence. Then ask silently, what does this reflect within me? The water may become a symbol of renewal. The folding may remind you of gathering your scattered thoughts. The sip may feel like communion. Suddenly, you're not doing a task, you're partaking in a ritual. And if you begin to live this way, just once a day, life transforms. Your mornings become offerings, your evenings reflections. Your entire life becomes a sacred circuit between the inner and the outer, the personal and the cosmic. This is not make-believe. This is not woo. This is Hermetic law. As above, so below. As within, so without. And so I ask you now, what messages have you been missing because you've labeled your life too ordinary? What divine whispers have you ignored in your quest for something more spiritual? The truth is, there is no divide. The mundane is mystical, waiting for your recognition. The next time you drink from your favorite cup, pause. Trace its shape with your finger. Feel its weight. Bless the water inside. Know that in that moment, you are engaging with the all. You are not just living life, you are co-creating it. And every time you bring sacred attention to the ordinary, you are not escaping the world, you are re-enchanting it. You are becoming the bridge between the heavens and the home. There is a secret doorway in the heart of every mood, a hidden lever behind every emotional state. The Hermetic sages called it the principle of polarity. All things are dual. Everything has poles. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. And once you understand this law, not just as theory, but as felt experience, you begin to see that no emotion is final, no state is fixed. Every sorrow is kin to joy. Every doubt is the shadow of faith. Every contraction contains the seed of expansion. You were not meant to be ruled by your emotions. You were meant to transmute them. Feelings are sacred energies moving through your field like tides. But because we've forgotten their polar nature, we mistake them for destinations instead of passages. We say, I am angry, rather than anger is passing through me. We claim I am lost instead of realizing I am currently on the far end of knowing, which means clarity is approaching. This is the path of the alchemist, not to suppress emotion, but to meet it, feel it, and shift its frequency by rising to the other pole. Picture your emotion as a tuning fork. If you strike one end of a spectrum, say fear, it vibrates throughout your body. But that same vibration brought into awareness can be redirected. The Hermeticist does not deny fear. They observe it, breathe into it, offer it the vibration of trust, not as a weapon, but as a companion. Over time, the pitch changes. The emotional frequency rises, and a new tone is struck. This is not instant. It is art. It is practice. Let's make it real. Imagine waking to a sense of dread, a heaviness you cannot explain. The modern impulse is to numb it, scrolling caffeine distraction. But the alchemist pauses. The alchemist says, the pendulum has swung. Let me locate the opposite pole. You sit, you breathe. You remember, the principle of rhythm also lives here. The swing always compensates. So you don't fight the dread. You feel it. You listen to it. You say, you are welcome here, for you are my teacher. Then you ask, what is the opposite of this sensation? Maybe it's peace. Maybe it's vitality. You don't force the new state, you invite. It, like a candle, invites light to a dark room. You reach for a small action that matches that opposite tone. You play music that uplifts you. You speak aloud a single truth. I am safe in this moment. You move your body gently. You touch something beautiful. And through these small movements, you shift the pole. You are not escaping your mood. You are steering it. Polarity is a law, but it is not a trap. It is a tool. And like all Hermetic principles, it teaches personal responsibility, not blame. Your moods are valid. Your emotions are wise. But they are not your identity. You are not sadness. You are the one who can feel it and also feel its opposite. You are the axis around which the poles turn. And here is where the daily ritual becomes so important. Because moods are subtle, and life moves quickly. Your spiritual practice must be embedded in the flow of your day. Not something separate, but something continual. Try this, assign a frequency to each part of your day. Brushing teeth, clarity. Walking to work, gratitude. Making food, nourishment. Returning emails, service. These aren't affirmations to chant robotically. They are living vibrations to inhabit. When you choose the tone, you reduce reactivity. You shift from victim to co-creator. And when those low vibrations come, as they will, you meet them with grace, not shame. You see them as signs, not verdicts. You say, I've wandered toward the lower pole. Let me choose again. Not from guilt, but from sovereignty. You don't have to fix every feeling. You only have to remember that it is movable. Even the deepest despair can be touched by a single ray of light. One kind word. One honest breath. One note of music that reminds you you are not the feeling. You are the field in which all feelings move. And so I ask you now, what emotions have you mistaken as fixed states? What moods have ruled your life because you forgot you could shift them? Begin today. Begin now. Feel your feelings. Honor them. Then reach gently, consciously for their sacred opposite. That reaching is the ritual. That remembering is the alchemy. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to practice polarity as a path of awakening. The most sacred ritual is simply this: to be fully alive. Not merely breathing, but breathing with awareness. Not merely doing, but doing with devotion. This is the apex of practical hermetics, not to transcend life, but to sanctify it. To let every act become a hymn, every glance a prayer, every moment a mirror of your innermost frequency. The Kabbalion does not ask you to retreat from the world. It calls you to engage with it consciously as an artist, a mystic, an alchemist walking in plain clothes. The teachings are not separate from life. They are the architecture of life, encoded in everything from your morning yawn to your nighttime dreams. The principle of cause and effect reminds us that nothing happens by chance. Each movement flows from another. Each word is a ripple in the field of creation. So, when you speak, speak as though your words are spells, because they are. When you walk, walk as though the earth responds to your rhythm, because it does. And when you greet another soul, whether a loved one or a stranger, let your eyes say, "I remember you from the stars." To live in this way is not to perform spirituality. It is to dissolve the illusion of separation between the sacred and the ordinary. It is to weave the divine into the very threads of your schedule, your breath, your thoughts, your laughter. Consider how you rise in the morning. Do you rush toward a screen, a to-do list, a flood of noise, or do you pause just for a moment and honor the birth of a new cycle? Imagine lighting a candle before opening your calendar, or touching your heart before checking your messages, not out of superstition, but reverence. These small acts realign you. They say to the universe, "I remember what I am." The ancients didn't need cathedrals to touch the divine. They walked with it, ate with it, breathed with it. They knew that the sacred is not summoned, it is noticed, that noticing is the ritual. When you stir a pot of soup, you are not simply feeding the body. You are blending earth and fire, water and warmth, a ritual of nourishment. When you listen to a friend speak their truth, you are not just hearing words, you are holding a ceremony of presence. When you pause to witness a leaf fall from a tree, you are not wasting time. You are aligning with the law of rhythm, watching the dance of surrender. This is how a life becomes holy, not through grandeur, but through remembrance. The alchemist, in their deepest wisdom, no longer seeks transformation as escape. They see that the gold is not somewhere else, it is here beneath the surface of the day. And their work is not to abandon the world, but to anoint it. To walk through the market like it were a monastery. To sit in traffic as though in prayer. To fold laundry with the same care as lighting a temple lamp. It's not about what you do, it's about how you do it. And that how begins within. Mentalism reminds you that all begins in mind. So choose thoughts that sanctify. Correspondence shows that what you do below reflects what is above. So bless your small tasks. Polarity teaches that you can shift any state. So let presence be your portal. Cause and effect calls you to act consciously. So infuse each word with soul. And rhythm reminds you to move with grace. So flow with life as one who trusts the tide. What happens when all of this becomes your way of being? You no longer seek ritual. You become it. You become the walking incense, the living scripture, the flame that lights the path. not just for yourself, but for those around you. People feel it. They may not know what you've studied, but they'll know something moves differently in you. Not faster, not louder, just deeper, aligned. This is the quiet revolution, not of rebellion, but of remembrance. So I ask you now, what would your life look like if every action were sacred? What if you stopped searching for the divine and started embodying it? You don't need to change your life. You only need to inhabit it fully. That is the ritual. That is the return. And now, beloved listener, we arrive not at an ending, but at a threshold. You have walked the spiral of Hermetic remembrance, not in theory, but in the quiet sanctuaries of your own awareness. You have felt the sacred in your breath, your thoughts, your moods, your hands. You have glimpsed the truth that every moment is a spell waiting to be cast with presence, that your life is already the altar and your being is the offering. You do not need robes, incense, or ancient ruins to find the divine. You only need to remember, to see again with the eyes of the soul that the ordinary is the miracle. That stirring, soup-speaking truth, tending wounds, sitting still, all of it can become ritual. When you live with intention, you become the alchemist. When you choose awareness, you become the priestess. When you honor the moment, you awaken the temple. So may you go now and live as though the sacred walks beside you, because it does. And if these words have lit a quiet fire in you, share them. Whisper them forward. Let your life be the echo. Subscribe not only to this channel, but to the still golden frequency of your own becoming. You are not becoming spiritual. You already are.